Views expressed in the videos are my observation, analysis of events, persons based on principles of astrology. It's not my intent to predict, forecast absolute outcomes, only suggest how they may unfold. Nothing is set in stone. I could be wrong, but often I'm right. My desire is not to promote fear, only inform about what we see unfolding. It is our wish to prepare our subscribers for events that could affect them, their family, their goals, and their future, to help to prepare for what you may already suspect is happening, and to send a warning shot across the bow and raise a flag of concern. Our goal is to help, not hinder, in these perilous times, to inspire and offer possible direction, and to reveal that a greater plan and purpose are behind all that is happening. Eventually, we will see a brighter day. If you would like to show your appreciation for our work on these videos or this channel, and also the Knowing Whispers channel, you can always click on the word thanks at the bottom of all the videos. Hello everybody, it's Robert Cosmar of the Astrology of Life YouTube channel and the Substack newsletter Knowing Whispers Messages from the Universe. It's been about a week since I have gotten a video out, and we have been in the process of getting our house painted this week, so other responsibilities have kind of gotten in the way, but I've decided here this evening to finally get out this particular video that has to deal with the Supreme Court and the transits that are going on right now in regards to the Supreme Court, and how this may fall into what we know about the transits and progressions that are going on in Donald Trump's chart during June, July, and August. So bear with me here. This particular chart here on the inner wheel is the Judiciary Act of 1789, where the Supreme Court was established, essentially. And if you remember from my last video, it was, I believe September the 24th, 1789 is when George Washington signed it in. But I consider this to be the birth of the Supreme Court. And then outside here, we have the transiting planets for April the 28th. Okay. And as with all transits, they tell you something about the feel of a particular timing and the circumstances surrounding what is happening to an individual or an organization at that particular time. So I'm going to be looking at the interaction here. Now, keep in mind that the time of this creation of the institution of the Supreme Court may not have been 12 o'clock p.m., although there are several scholars that have said that that's kind of the way they went by these things. So I'll kind of leave it up to you to decide whether or not, that is the case. I will not be using the midheaven or the ascendant or the nadir or the descendant in my delineation here about this. Okay. Now, for those of you who may not be watching network news, all right, you know that the situation, okay, in the court proceedings in New York City regarding Stormy Daniels seem to be going pretty well. The situation, though, with the other situation, the business fraud, has kind of run into a snag, because apparently that judge had talked to an attorney at some point about the case. And as it seems, in so many of these situations, like Fannie Willis down in Georgia, Trump's investigators are looking for dirt, okay, to delay proceedings that are essentially against him. And we know this delay, as I mentioned to you, I think in the last video I did, was something that he was taught by Roy Cohn. All right. Now, so what is happening here in regards to the energies of the Supreme Court, the birth chart of the Supreme Court, and the transits? Well, one of the things that's fairly obvious here is that Saturn has returned. It's already gone past that point, but it has returned to that point. And Saturn is the great karmic teacher. Saturn tries to keep things on a high level, morally, ethically, spiritually. It points out where things are not quite right, or if things are not proper. All right. So this microscope that has been growing on the Supreme Court over the last year or so is in part due to the return of Saturn to its natal position. It has also gone a little bit past the position of the Sun, which would be the reputation, the esteem of the Supreme Court. And of course, it's taken a tremendous hit. So this Saturn, in this particular situation, which may go retrograde as well for sometime in the future, I'll try to check it here in a minute, we could see that this situation is not going to go away very easily. And that this is definitely a time in which the Supreme Court is being called on the carpet, okay, by the universe as well as by their particular actions. Okay, so keep that in mind, if you will. Now, the other thing here that I see that's significant, and it's already happened once, is you'll notice here that transiting Pluto is opposing the natal Uranus, okay, in the chart of the Supreme Court. All right, now, to interpret this particular opposition, okay, what I like to use is transformation through revolution. All right, now, I'm not talking so much here about a physical revolution of the United States as much as I'm talking about a needed revolution, okay, a necessary revolution with the Supreme Court itself. And of course, both Pluto and Uranus are the higher aspects, okay, of this whole process, of this whole energy that's going on. They're the unforeseen, okay? They're the demand, so to speak, or the processes whereby the universe brings about the need to make change because the things that Saturn exposes are not right. I guess is the proper way to put that. So this particular aspect right here is going to be coming back into force at a very peculiar time. In the midst, if you watch some of my videos here lately of Donald Trump, you know that his summer is going to be particularly wild and crazy. All right, that there's going to be a lot of things we can't even imagine right now that are going to enter into the equation. All right, some of those may be harmful directly to Trump himself. They could be harmful to him legally, okay, or they could be in a situation in certain circumstances favorable to his tactic of deny and delay. All right, so keep that in mind. Somewhere, I believe in July or late June, somewhere in that area here, all right, Uranus is going to again oppose that Pluto. This is right in the midst of some of the deepest trouble that Trump's going to be dealing with. All right, so the question you have to ask in your mind is this a situation where the Supreme Court has taken up the immunity claim and they have decided to judge in his favor, and this spurs this urge and this sense of transformation. You see this on the college campuses that are going on right now. This revolutionary type of energy that's attracting college students, okay? This is much the case to where it was in the 1960s, late 1960s. I was in college between 1969 and 71. I saw demonstrations on campus. I saw violence on campus. I saw dogs dragging kids across the street that were released by state troopers, you know, the whole 9 yards, people shot in the face or relatively in the face with tear gas. Not a particular place you like to be, okay? And fortunately, we stayed out of the problems that existed. But again, the thing here about what's happening with the Supreme Court, okay? It's being called on the carpet, essentially karmically. All right, and it could be that their actions are going to further fuel the changes that need to occur and possibly a sense of fear and anger that we will no doubt see escalate as we go into the election on November the 5th of 2024. Okay. Other factors here to take into consideration, you'll notice there's several things here going on. Here's Saturn conjuncting the Sun. Saturn squaring the Moon, okay? So it impacts, and in a sense, these aspects are very depressing, Okay, when you have Saturn conjuncting your sun and Saturn squaring your moon in your horoscope, you feel depressed, you feel trapped, you feel caught in a situation that you cannot escape, and you wonder how you're going to get out of it. All right. We also have down here Uranus transiting squaring the natal Pluto. Okay, here's the natal Pluto. All right. And here is the transiting Uranus. Again, revolution, change, whether they like it or not. And this can apply to your life. All right. And this is a perfect example to show you of how karma, fate, and destiny come to play in our lives. All right. We tend to think egotistically of our goals, our ambitions, our plans, what we want, how we want it. Okay. And then when things happen that stop that thwart that, we think all kinds of reasons to blame everything except ourselves for why something's happening, why we didn't realize a goal, why we failed to do this. All right. Well, here's a perfect example of how this could work in a person's chart. If this were an individual, this would be an indication for that individual that unforeseen, revolutionary, out of their conscious awareness events are going to occur to cause them to decide whether or not they are going to make a change. Okay, of course, they can deny that and continue down the path they're on, and of course, the circumstances will get worse. All right, because the universe's purpose and plan is for us to evolve consciously and to reunite ourselves consciously with the higher levels of the universe itself, not to descend in darkness, not to follow the kind of hateful attitude that can lead to all kinds of horrific events and consequences because people are too self-centered and selfish to let go of old behavior and stuff. Okay? We also have down here the situation. Here's Pluto opposing Uranus. The aspect has gone past that, but it's going to come back because it's going to go retrograde. And all of this, like I said, it's this feeling that you have of something's got to change in the Supreme Court. Somebody better change it. Okay, we want it to change. This type of thinking. Okay, and of course, again, the Saturn is pointing out all of their flaws, their weaknesses, their politicization of their decisions that are not based, okay, that are not based upon just common sense. And for those of you that are following the circumstances regarding abortion, we also here have Uranus squaring Venus. All right, here's a perfect example of the interference of the Supreme Court over women's reproductive rights. All right, so all of this stuff is revealed in this birth chart of the Supreme Court of the United States of America and the current transiting positions that are going on. And I'm going to show you one more image here. This is a graphic ephemeris, okay, and you can see here that the position of Pluto here, okay, I'm trying to figure out exactly where I want to go with this. Okay, here is Pluto. Okay, here is where it opposes Uranus. This will be in the latter part of June. And again, keep in mind, this is the period of the year, these last 3 months, June, July, and August, or I guess really the 3 summer months, where the long, hot summer will probably apply. Because we don't know, you don't know, exactly to the extreme and the extent to which this thing is going to get crazy. But I feel pretty confident, based upon what's going on right now, that this is going to get extremely complex and confusing and infuriating, and the volatility and the violent feeling is going to peak when it comes right down to the election on November the 5th of 2024, when transiting Mars has opposition to Pluto exactly on that day. One side or the other is going to be enraged, okay? And we could see some real volatile situations crop up at that time that we haven't really thought about since maybe the Vietnam era. Okay. All right. So I hope I gave you a pretty good picture here of what the circumstances are with the Supreme Court. I'm also going to try to do a picture video here for you about the relationship from Melania and Donald. Okay, I had mentioned before that sometime in the summer, I'm not quite sure at the moment whether it is maybe July or late June, July, or August, his progressed Venus squares his natal Saturn. His natal Saturn is already conjunct Venus. All right. This is definitely his behavior towards women. Okay. At this particular time, all right, when progressed Venus squares Saturn, all right, there are some other factors coming into play that tend to make me think that maybe this is the point to where Melania says, I've had enough. I mean, this situation with Stormy Daniels right now has made her look so absolutely bad to most people, men and women. It's like, why or how could any woman put up with this? Of course, you know, the reality of the situation is that probably we all kind of guessed that their relationship was a transactional one, and that she's getting a certain part of his wealth for being in that particular role to boost up his ego. And of course, we've seen many situations where she has failed to support him due to the events that are happening to him. And as I had alluded to in one of the videos here that I did, I think maybe last week, she does wear the pants in the family. Okay, and I'll talk about that when I do the video about Melania and Donald Trump in particular. And of course, there's other ones to come. I'm going to probably do one on Barron. I'll do one maybe on Mary Trump, his niece that is fighting, you know, on the internet and other places, network news, to tell people exactly what he's really like and to try to prevent him from getting back into the White House itself. So I have some pretty revealing videos to be done, and some other ones too that I'll probably do up until, you know, the time of the election. Keep in mind that this month's live stream is going to be on the 18th. It's going to be Saturday the 18th from 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Trump Talk and Awakening, and we'll be talking about the impact at that time of what's going on. Isn't it amazing that after all this time that Trump is still so much in the mind and in the emotions of the world and in, you know, in America? And who would have thought that that would have happened, you know, after he was out of office? All right. This is where you have to respect karma, fate, and destiny. Okay. It will not emotionally deceive you. It will basically give you a clue as to what to expect and what will happen. Okay. And then the person themselves can decide whether or not they choose to want to learn from that episode, or whether or not they want to fall under the weight of heavy karma, which is always pretty severe. Okay. Again, I hope that you enjoy the video. If you haven't had a chance to come over to the platform Substack, to my 3 videos over, not videos, my 3 newsletters over there. One is called Knowing Whispers Messages from the Universe. The other one is Trump in America, and then Ask the Astrologer. My partner CJ has 2 newsletters over there too. One is called CJ's World, and the other was called CJ's Whispers of Awareness. And she shares her guidance there as well with what's happening and what she's being given from her guidance. So keep that in mind, if you will. For those of you that donate to the channel, have made donations over the last several years, I appreciate you. I thank you for your support. For those that sporadically and at times will give donations off the videos that you can do if you want, thank you. For those of you that still have remained members of the channel and subscribers through all the transitions, again, we appreciate you as well, and we hope that the work we're doing is pertinent to your understanding of what is happening. All right. Okay. From the Love of My Life, CJ, my spiritual partner, and from our new 10-pound Chihuahua, Nova Marie, we thank you for your support again, and we look forward to being able to share more with you as these very serious and odd times keep moving forward. Thank you again.